how to hire like amazing staff members. Now, I'm gonna whiz through the common tips, mostly to make it really difficult for you guys to come up with answers. But there are things that everybody knows, right? So number one, everyone knows that, if you use Indeed or one of these platforms to get employees, it's worth paying for the advertising to make sure more people see it. You also should have some kind of trick question in there so that when the people reply, they actually read it and didn't just mass respond. So for example, we have one that says you have to respond with your email. The cover letter needs to be a font color that isn't black, because a lot of people don't know how to change the font color in their email. And this is something they now have to go and solve and requires a Googling. And it's such a difficult thing to do, but it really doesn't. It takes 30 seconds. But by putting the pressure on them to go and do that, they read the resume, they read, everything they're required to do. So these, I would say, are like basic things. But I did want to share some of my favorite tips. And then I want to give it to you guys just for one tip that you think other people don't know that you've used and has been really, really powerful. So this one is really big and also really controversial. I'm sorry in advance. Hire failed business owners who know they've failed. This is very important. They can't just have, I could have done this better. They need to be, I suck. I'm no good at business. That is the best employee ever, because they have already given up on their dreams. And I know this is controversial, but if you remember what I said earlier about the 6 different departments, it usually means that business owner was exceptional at one of the departments and just didn't have the skills for the other 5 and didn't have the resources, money, or ingenuity to solve the others. And this just happens. So once they get into this mental point where they say, okay, I am not gonna run a business ever again, but I really like doing marketing, or I really like finance, or I'm really good at tech. When they get that in their head, they are now primed to be an amazing employee. And the average small business owner is only paying themselves 200 grand a year, which is totally affordable as a high-end expert thinker who is now committed to doing something. Now, they don't want to be a failure in life. They clearly want to be a success. And now they view your company as a success. And one way you can really motivate them is with points in the company, because now they become a business owner again. So you give them a clear path from employee to business owner. And you say, look, it wasn't your fault this business collapsed. You didn't have these other assets, you didn't have this much revenue, and you don't have these other skills. And I think that's great, because you're so good at sales, marketing, operations, whatever it is. Come and do that for us. Let us pay you a good salary, probably what you were paying yourself, and we'll give you a bonus every year based on profit or profit of growth. Over time, if you make it out 5 years and we hit this particular revenue target, that will exchange into what we like to give is phantom equity. So we don't actually give them the equity because they have to pay taxes on it. It's just a payout based on how big the company is when we sell it. But they get, a seat on the board of advisors, not the board of directors. There's a big difference between those two things. Board of directors have responsibility, board of advisors don't. But it's a nice phrase and it makes them feel important. And of course, they become integral into the company. So this is my absolute favorite tip. And the question is, well, where do we find these failed business owners? And the reality is you network with business owners, which is my second tip. You should be spending as much time talking to other business owners as possible, even if they're not in your industry. It's why we do events like this. It's why we've made our podcast live so we can see people in person. Just talking to other business owners, you will find an employee that they no longer want, who is really good at a job, but just not at the level they want, or somebody they know whose business is collapsed and they really need something to pay the bills and they're ready to commit and give up their company and move on. And it's so much easier if your network is larger. A really good buddy of mine, Ryan Holiday, he lives just down the road. He's a famous author. He has a bookstore in town. And he messaged me 2 days ago. And he said, Adam, I'm looking for this particular staff member. Do you know anybody? And he basically was saying, I'm looking for a business owner who's no longer doing their business and wants to come and run a new venture that he's got. I don't want to give any details because he's awesome. But the reason I'm saying that is Ryan Holiday knows he doesn't have to know as many local business owners as I do because I know more than him. He can just reach out to me and as a friend be like, yo, do you know someone? One email later, and suddenly it's broadcast out to like 400 relevant business owners. And so the number one way to get an amazing employee at the highest level is someone you know, and ideally a failed business owner whose specialization is in what you're looking for. And then the people under them, the ones that are the executors, as crazy as this sounds, I like single moms. And I'll tell you why. In a world where people can work remotely, single moms get things done. They don't leave dishes out on the side. They have an attention to detail And most single moms' ambition isn't to become some big, amazing business owner. They want guaranteed money, guaranteed pay rises every year. They want good vacation time. They want good medical that applies to their children. They want to be able to work from home. They want flexibility about looking after their kids. And in return for all of that, they will happily go the extra mile and make sure things succeed. I have never found employees that were more diligent on getting tasks done than single moms. They are, and you just have to be okay with, my kids are sick, I've got to go to the doctors today. It's like, no problem whatsoever. Let us know how they are, send them like a little gift to, little care package for the kid. And they go, thank you so much, this is the best company I've ever worked in. Yeah, and that's what they love. In our company, we give 5 weeks paid vacation every year to our employees specifically to account for that. And I remember when one of our employees, who was a single mom, she's not with us sadly anymore. She got an amazing opportunity to study to be a doctor, which she went for, and we were really supportive. But she got pregnant and had another baby on the way. And we were like, well, how do we handle maternity leave? This is like, what do we do? She's so integral to the company. And we stressed about this. We were like, online, it says you should give them 9 months. And we're like, losing her for 9 months would be devastating, but we really want to help her. And so we messaged her and said, hey, how much maternity leave would you like? Open-ended. Just tell us and we'll give it to you. And she goes, anything more than 2 weeks and I'll go insane. And we were like, we would like to gift you a month of salary on top of that to help with the baby. And she goes, that would be amazing, thank you. Cool. 6 weeks of pay and only 2 weeks of lost productivity. It was the best thing ever. And it was an open carte blanche. She could have gone online, seen how much she could get. And she's smart enough to do that, but she wanted to keep working. She didn't want to lose the momentum. So I think that's really cool. And that's my tip for hiring.